What's up, guys? The other day I made a post around what are the 5 books I think every man should read if you're committed to your personal growth and to your sexual growth. And in this video, I want to talk a little bit into each book to see which one resonates with you most. So you can go pick that one up next. And you should pick them all up, but obviously which one you should pick up next. The first, many of you might have heard of it. It's called The Way of the Superior Man. That is by David Dieta, who is a thought leader in everything men's work and sexual work and all the things around energy or with the masculine and the feminine. His work is fantastic. That book speaks into everything around having clarity around your purpose as a man or as a masculine figure, how that spills over into your ability to truly get respect and to truly love your partner or your lady or a feminine counterpart. It also talks about releasing external judgment from not only other people, but from people that you truly care about and admire, specifically parent figures and father figures, which I know, at least in my experience, we as men sometimes have a lot of baggage that we carry there, and at least trying to prove ourselves. And there's also, all of this ultimately leads into how to have deeper connection, deeper intimacy, being more of a space, of a safe space and a secure energy for the feminine to really open up, to trust, so you can have deeper connection and in turn better sex. Everyone wants to know, how do we have better sex? There's a lot of steps that lead into that, at least in his work. And so highly recommend that. It might feel a little like woo-woo, at least with the spiritual aspects of it. But I would definitely recommend that for every man watching this. Number 2, I believe I shared To Be a Man by Robert Augustus. This one is great because it talks about and gives specific examples in your childhood environment with your parent figures, and how that directly morphs your emotional availability later in life, your communication habits, your ability to actually be open, or are you the closed, stoic type, anger management, temper tantrums, all the things. And because it gives clear examples, you might find one that resonates with you, and you can have more awareness as to how to work through your own blocks. So that one is really awesome. I'm actually going to give that one another read through. Number 3, Your Brain on Porn. I think every man that was born in the last 30 years, maybe more, it's just because that's how old I am, should read this book. It essentially goes into how porn is no different than any other addictive substance, and how there's actual measurable damage on your brain from constant porn use. And this is for you even if you have a daily porn habit, or if you don't but you do still use porn here and there, because I think it was so eye-opening for me when I read it 4 years ago, and I've cut porn since, and my love life, my sex life, my libido, my drive is incredibly healthy. It surprises me, and the number one reason, I've done a lot of personal work, but I think cutting porn has been a tremendous influence on that. And there's some people that say you can have a healthy relationship with porn, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do, but for me, after reading this book, after seeing the actual data and the science behind it, cut it out of my life. And to give you a little more into it, when guys were looking at porn mags 50 years ago, it wasn't a big deal, right? Because there's all this fantasy and imagination involved. But if you think about it nowadays, you have access to some of the most intense, high definition porn on your cell phone, right? And in a 10-minute session, you're watching how many videos, how many partners, right? Which is essentially desensitizing your mind to the reality and set in certain expectations of what sex should and needs to look like, which creates self-esteem issues, which also creates performance anxiety issues. Erectile dysfunction is a huge thing that a lot of young men are experiencing. And then of course, like, you know, like guys just don't know how to truly caress and like ravish a woman how she actually wants to be loved. So that one, I mean, get the audiobook. The audiobook was great. The next one is The Evolved Masculine by Destin Garrick. I actually got to work with Destin last year. Dude, he is awesome. Awesome guy. He's like the middle ground between To Be a Man and David Dieta. He actually doesn't agree with some of the things that David Dieta writes about. And he shares from his own experience of like I guess like a traumatic or like a like very hurtful or like a bad first sexual experience, and how that like shaped his sex life when he was younger. And that's something that I know me and I'm sure other men out there like can kind of relate to, but how he was able to turn that around and become what he calls like the erotic rock star and have like this incredibly fulfilling and like kind of crazy sex life. And so some of it is like processing things yourself, and some of his stuff is really cool. It's like tangible around how to improve your endurance as a man, like how to be able to last longer, have harder erections, fully like actually fully control when and how you ejaculate, and how to like start exploring what full body male orgasms are as a man without needing to focus on your ejaculation. And it's really cool because some of it is like actual tangible things you can do in your own practices or like with your own body. And some of it, like most of it, is also your ability to release. I know as men, like there's this like outcome, right? Of like, I need to please my woman, I need to see her orgasm, and then I can orgasm, right? And when you're actually able to like fully release that, like that is when there's deeper mastery around control and deeper forms of pleasure. And so that's a really cool book that I would highly recommend. And the fifth one, and I've read this years ago, but it was really, really helpful with what I was going through at the time, is New Male Sexuality. Yes, New Male Sexuality. The picture's right here. I don't have it in front of me. And that one is more on the scientific side, speaking around like new male kinks, things that we've seen as taboo, like different forms of like pleasure centers, and really working through things that like some men might find uncomfortable, really wanting to explore because of societal like conditioning, but really like opening your eyes to different forms of pleasure that might feel aligned for you, to give you ideas on how to open and feel more liberated sexually, which my firm opinion, when you truly feel congruent in that area of your life, dude, everything else is just like dominoes. Okay. I could have made a funny pun there, but anyway, a lot of this stuff is great. And I think the recommendations are everything from more of like the energetic side to the tangible things you can do with your own body, to things around communication and like clarity in your like life and in your purpose and like what you wake up doing and kind of what you're working towards. I will say though, bringing all of this to life also revolves around your self-confidence, your self-esteem, and your ability to like vulnerably and powerfully express yourself authentically. And that for me took a lot of work and coaching and doing different things. But I think if any of these things relate to you and you're a little unclear on how to really bring this into your partnership or into, you know, your love life, like if you're not in a certain partnership, feel free to reach out or leave a comment and we can chat about that, because learning the tools to communicate is probably one of the most important pillars on bringing all of this into your actual life. And then of course, if you have read any of these or if you plan to read any of these, I would love to hear your feedback as to what came up and how you interpreted certain things. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Boom.